Good evening, everyone. I hope you're well on this Friday afternoon. I hope you're all looking forward to a nice weekend off. I believe the weather is going to get better. In case you don't know, my name's Martin Gilchrist. I'm from Gilchrist & Co. Chartered Accountants. In case you wonder where I am, I'm working from home because it's COVID lockdown. And we're all trying to do shielding and protect each other and all the good stuff that we're doing to keep this terrible, terrible virus under control. Because I'm working from home, I've been doing a lot of Skype meetings. I've been having a lot of conversations online. And I was talking to a couple of friends of mine yesterday in essentially a virtual coffee meetup. And I hope they don't mind me mentioning their names. James Perry, Kevin Young, and Declan Barry. And we get together regularly just to offload, unload, upload, catch up, chat, laugh. It's not really about business, it's just about friends getting together. But we do discuss ideas and come up with things. And one of the things that I discussed yesterday was this idea about my interest and passion for micro business. You know what, if I wasn't paid to be an accountant, I would still be involved in this environment because I love it. I love the stories, the camaraderie, the courage, the ideas, the excitement, the joy that comes from starting, growing, and running your own business. I love being part of all those conversations. The good bits when people are doing well, or when a new contract or a new idea works out and comes to fruition. But also being there to support when things aren't so good, when money doesn't come in, or tax bills hit, or cash flow becomes an issue. And that's a big part of what's happening now. So the idea I had after the conversation with my four friends was to have a regular business conversation with people that are just like me. Now, we've all been on those Zoom calls. Well, we do them all the time. There's nothing wrong with them where there's either one guy that does all the talking, or there's too many people trying to talk at once, or maybe there's not an agenda, so you don't really know where you are in the conversation, or maybe you don't get to speak as much as what you'd want, or horses for courses. Not every Zoom meeting is for every person. So what this conversation is going to be about specifically is ideas for small business and the type of things that small businesses, micro enterprises, one-man bands, probably business ventures before they reach the point where they need to become limited companies. The business ventures, or maybe no, maybe we'll do a little bit more. Maybe business ventures that have potential earnings turnovers up between about £50,000 and £250,000, and startups as well. Having a conversation each week about the issues that might pertain to them. Now, I want to give it some structure. I want to be able for people to know what's coming up and whether or not the conversation is going to be relevant to them. It may well be the case that it's not relevant to anybody, and I'm sitting talking to myself of an evening. I also want it to be relatively regular at a time when it will be available to people who are busy during their day. So I'm thinking it'll be maybe 8 to half 8, 9 o'clock, thereabouts, on a Monday and Thursday. So essentially it'll be me having a conversation with anybody who comes along about small business on Monday and Thursday. How will I structure it? Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and share a screen, my screen. And on my screen, you will see, hopefully, the NI Business Info website. And what I'm intending to do is, using the NI Business Info website, is use the resources that they provide publicly anyway, and go through them and use that to trigger ideas for conversation, either things that I would be interested in or what people would be interested in generally. Now, the question you might ask is, well, why would I do that of you? Why not just read this stuff myself? Well, hopefully, company helps. Hearing stuff said out loud, I tend to find helps. Having the opportunity to join in a conversation certainly helps me. And there is stuff that I have, experience that I have, that I would hope would bring some value to the conversation. Now, I'm not going to use this, well, it's going to sound like bragging, but I want to give a bit of background for where I'm coming from in order to give you an opportunity to judge as to whether or not my contribution would bring any value to the conversation or to the information that's already on the Invest NI website, or the NI Business Info website. So my educational background is that I am a law graduate. So I hold an LLB in law. But my practical experience is with small business. So I have been working with small businesses and in accountancy from about the age of 17. And you might go to yourself, that's very young. How did you do that? Well, I left school and went into practice as an accountant technician, a small practice just outside Saintfield. And I have been working with small businesses, now that I would consider a small business, anywhere between £10,000 a year turnover up to £250,000 a year of turnover, anywhere between a one-man band and up to about 20 employees. That's what I consider to be relatively small businesses. And I've been working in that environment my entire life. But I'm also in practice with my wife. I am the practice manager at Gilchrist & Co Chartered Accountants. And my wife is an FCA qualified chartered accountant. That means she is a senior member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants with almost 30 years experience. That's experience I can call upon as well. And she is an incredibly brilliant chartered accountant, even if I do say so myself. Both of us have been through many business programs. You know, there would be well in excess of £200,000 worth of business training has been invested into the both of us over the years. But we've also participated in business. So we've got involved in stuff. So we founded the Social Media Association for Business, which had over 2,000 members, and over the course of over a year, created a steering group. Had more than 15 events, had maybe 2,000 attendees, had speakers from the likes of the universities, the tourism board, Concentrics, support from various different businesses, many different businesses over the course of that time. But I have also been a business and community mentor. You know, I have been elected to the steering committee of Digital Circle and held funding and finance seat for a year. I was nominated to be a director of Down Enterprise Park and was elected to the position of chairman. We have been recognised in awards such as the 25K University Entrepreneurship Awards and the Digital DNI Awards. Basically, we got recognised for our social media activities. I'm a director on a number of boards of small businesses. We've been through business startup programs and have, with different ventures, raised in excess of £80,000 of startup funding money. We are a practice that has more than 300 clients, and we have all the experience of dealing with those clients for more than 13, almost 14 years now. So there's a huge amount of experience, and I'll not go on. I feel like I've gone on a lot, but there's a huge amount of experience in all that. And what I would like to do is find a way of sharing that, and ideally find others that I could have conversations about in relation to small business on these evenings twice a week. So to go back to how this might actually work, what I would like to do is take the guide that's provided by Invest NI and our NI Business Info, and use that as the framework for the conversation. I'm going to start now by sharing my screen and go to the very first part of the guide. Now, the resource we're going to look at is what you do when you're starting a business. So essentially what I'll do is read out the relevant points, maybe share a little video, and then give my thoughts on it. So let's get started. So step-by-step guide to starting a business, and we're looking at the introduction. If you're considering starting up a new business, you need to consider a number of factors to ensure the best chance of success. As well as your product or service, you'll need to think about what will you name your business? What business structure will you use? How are you going to run your business? How are you going to attract customers and market your business? How will you finance your business venture? This guide outlines important considerations when planning and setting up your new business, including finding and keeping customers, finance for startups, business plans for startups, and tax and legal considerations for new businesses. And you can see here links for free business startup support, access for free business startup support from the local council, who will organise one-to-one mentoring sessions and provide tailored guidance to develop your business plan. And there's a link there for an inquiry form. Now, my first thoughts in regard to that are, if you were to ask me what do I think are the two most important things, or the three most important things that you need to think about when you're starting a business is, first of all, have you got something that people will pay you for? If you can't get someone to pay you, you're not got a business. And that's one of the hardest things in business. Getting a complete stranger, or maybe somebody you know, but eventually you're going to have to get complete strangers, to hand over their hard-earned cash to you for whatever product or service it is that you have. Given that there's probably someone out there in the marketplace already doing what it is that you're going to offer very well. And they'll probably be doing it for years. They probably can undercut your prices, maybe. They probably can make your product better. You know, unless you're coming up with a completely innovative idea, you're going to have competition. How are you going to sell your product or service into that marketplace? Who's going to buy it and who's going to pay for it for you? And the very first test for that is go and sell something. Go and get someone to buy your widget or to cut their grass or to do their tax return. If you can get one person to buy your service, you can get two. If you can get two, you can get four, and you potentially have a business then. So that would be the first thing I would suggest. You need to be able to sell something, and that can be the toughest part. The second thing is you need to be able to keep yourself until the point where your business can keep you. And that means that we all have costs. You know, we all have, at the very least, you need food, sustenance, somewhere to live. You know, we all have to pay our mortgage and the rest. Have you done even a basic projection of how much money you have now and how much you burn through every week and every month? And how long that will last? Because the last thing you want to do is to run out of liquidity. The last thing anybody in business should do is completely run out of money, because when you've run out of money, the wheels will come off completely. So you need to know you can sell something. You need to just know that you've got a product that people will buy, but you also need to know you can survive while you're in the process of building up those sales to the point where the business can maintain you and maintain your costs. That might be borrowing money, you know, up front, but how much do you need to borrow? You don't want to over borrow. You don't want to borrow more than you need. But at the same time, you don't want to leave yourself at any point where you're going to run out of money. So that's the first step. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go through these subjects from what your business name will be to how you finance your business venture using InvestNI. Or the NI Business Info website has a link. So we'll go to the first of the first things, 5 things to do before you start your business. And of that, the first thing it comes up with is you're thinking of taking a plunge and starting your business on your own. There are some key steps you need to take first. And the first one is the business idea. Every business develops from an initial idea. Ideas can range from spotting a gap in the market to coming up with a brand new product or service. If you want to start a business but don't have a definite idea, you can get help from our business idea profiles. So NI Business Info gives profiles of different businesses that you can start. The profiles provide information of over 600 small businesses, trades, sectors, and professions. And this includes startup costs, market trends, pricing, rules, and regulations. And there's a wee link to finding a business idea. And if you look at that wee link, it will bring up hundreds of things. So things like, just waiting for it to open. Oh, you have to put in, sorry, you put in your profiles. Excuse me, while I faff about a wee bit, you can see that this isn't going to be a completely glossy idea. But anyway, business ideas, you can, there's lots of different business ideas, but what I would suggest is that you choose one that you already know something about. Yes, you can start something completely new. There's no hard and fast rules about starting businesses. If there was a one right way of doing business, and somebody would write a book and become a multi-billionaire just off the back of that, and then we would all get rich and happy following those exact rules. Unfortunately, business, or maybe fortunately, business isn't like that. You have to apply your own flair. So when you're coming up with a business idea, choose any idea you want. But try and look at those ideas. Try and bear in mind it has to make money and you have to be able to survive until it works. Essentially, you can make money doing almost anything if you work hard enough at it and you've got the patience and the resources to do it. But you do have to be a little bit careful about that. So think about the idea. Log on to the NI Business Info website and go and look at that research and develop new ideas and products. My gut feeling on it is if you don't have your idea already, and you have to go and look for one, ask why that is. Ask yourself why that is. Because generally, you have to have a fire in your stomach for starting a new business. Business can be incredibly difficult, and you will come up against roadblocks incredibly quickly. And if you don't have that fire in your stomach or that passion for the idea or the business you have and your own internal belief that this is going to work because you know the subject or the topic inside out, once you come up against those hurdles, they're going to be harder to get over. Whereas if you have that passion, that fire in your stomach, that belief in yourself, that knowledge of the business, it helps you get through those hurdles. You don't have to jump over them, you can plow right through them. So think about that. Okay, so we've looked at the idea of business idea and what that's about and what you should be doing there. I think what we'll do is we'll stop for now. So we've been going about 20 odd minutes or so, and if I'm talking about myself, I think that's probably going to be long enough. The next thing we're going to be looking at is the business name and business structure, and we will do that on Monday at 8 p.m. And if you have watched this little clip of the idea, and hey, this is just an idea, it's not supposed to be really well rehearsed and very fancy. It's just me talking to you about some ideas in regard to business. If you feel like joining me on the Zoom while I'm recording one of these and getting involved in the conversation, you will be more than welcome. So if you're interested in joining me for the conversation around the idea of business name, as hopefully you can see on the screen here, and business structure, you will be very welcome indeed. If not, it'll just be me. And if no one joins me, it'll be me talking to myself. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this little conversation so far. I look forward to seeing you all on Monday at 8 p.m. All the best. Bye.